So once again, I would like to thank everyone for joining this study abroad webinar. And I'm Godfred, and I'll be talking about studying in Canada and Australia. I'm going to talk about the topics for this webinar. I'll be talking about welcome to Canada, studying and working in Canada, and then Canada's new policy. And then we will take a look at the financial consideration. Okay. Then studying and working in Canada and Australia as well. So let's begin. Um, Canada is it's a diverse place for all immigrants. Canada as a country, it entails a lot of immigrants, people from different countries mix the nation Canada. So we have few Canadians here in this country. Most of us are immigrants. So if you want to join Canada, it's a good place to join because you have a diverse culture. Yeah. So the main topic for today, studying and working in Canada. So what does it take to become a student in Canada? And then can international students work in Canada? The right answers are there are 4 steps to study in Canada. The first step is choose a study program and then get a letter of acceptance from any Canadian school or university, and then receive a provincial attestation letter from the province or territory that the school is located in. And finally, you apply for a study permit. And then can international students work in Canada? Yes, students are allowed to work for 30 hours in Canada. And then during the break, let's say a summer break or any semester, the break of every semester, you can work unlimited hours in any field. So we'll be talking about financial considerations here in Canada. The tuition fees for most universities here in Canada is very high. For the college, I think for a year it's about 20,000. That includes first and second semester. And then for university programs, it's around 25,000 for the year. And you have scholarships available. Depending on your admission to Canadian universities are very competitive. So depending on your, let's say your grade or your score, determines if you get a scholarship or not. Because remember, you're not the only one applying for admission. There are millions of students from different parts of the world applying for this same program or to that university. So it's very competitive. Okay. Recently there has been new policies for international students here in Canada, and I would like to talk about few. This policy came into place on January 22nd, 2024. That's most new post-secondary international students at the college or undergraduate level must provide a provincial attestation letter from a province or territory with their study permit application. Let's say Attestation letter will serve as proof that the student has been accounted for under any provincial or territorial allocation within the national cap. So this policy is still in place, and then the attestation letter will be released by 31st March 2024 this year. So this policy applies to not to all the let's say not to all students. When I say student, I mean master's student, college student, undergraduate student. So student who needs provincial attestation letter are those with post-secondary study applicants. Post-secondary study applicants are like let's say college students, or those who want to do diploma and undergraduate programs. They require the provincial attestation letter, and I think masters and PhD students are exempted from this provincial attestation letter. That means when you're a master's student or a PhD student, when you get admitted, you can right away apply for your study permits. And then now I'll be talking about the postgraduate work permits, PGWP, for graduates of master's degree program. Postgraduate work permits it's usually given to any student, no matter being a diploma student, a college student, master's student, undergraduate student, PhD student. The moment if you complete your studies here in Canada, you can apply for a postgraduate work permit. But recently, there has been a new update. So this update goes for, let's say, I'm talking about the master's program for now, master's applicants for now. Graduate of master's degree programs, granting programs that are selling conditions succeed in Canada labor market. And potentially transition to permanent residency. So this new policy favors most of the master's degree holders, because it really helped the Canadian job market to fill in the job market, because they already have the experience from their bachelor's degree, or they have work experience, and then the skills are needed in the country, or for any shortage of labor. So starting from February 2024, a longer 3 years postgraduate work permit will be available for those who are graduating from a master's degree. That is less than 2 years, and they all meet other postgraduate work. They all meet other postgraduate work permit eligibility criteria. And then the length for postgraduate work permits for programs other than master's degree will continue to align with the length of study program to a maximum of 3 years. So this include undergraduate students and diploma students. If you complete your program, you'll still be given a 3 years work permit after completion of your program. And I think those who are exempted are those who are doing certificate programs, let's say 8 months program and short courses are exempted from getting a postgraduate work permit. And here I'm talking about open work permits. We have open work permits and you have postgraduate work permits. This open work permits, let's say if you're a master's student and you have a postgraduate work permit, you are being given is this permit is also known as open work permit. That means it allows you to bring your spouse as a student. Even though you're a student, you can still bring in your spouse, sponsor your spouse to join you in Canada. And once these changes are in effect, spouses are common law partners of international students seeking to extend their existing work permit will continue to be eligible under this criteria. So let me reflect back. If a certificate program, if you are coming to Canada for a certificate program, that's a short course, you won't be given a work permit. And then that means you're not eligible to sponsor your spouse to come to Canada. But if you're a master's program, if you are coming to Canada to do a master's program, you'll be given a work permit, a study work permit, and you are eligible to bring in your spouse. So let me talk few about who will not be eligible for an open work permit. The spouses or common law partners of international students in other levels of study, including undergraduate, college program, will no longer be eligible for an open permit unless they are already on an open work permit under this stream. So I'll talk a little bit about Australia. Australia and Canada are they almost have the same policies. A lot of immigrants in Australia, and they invite it's a place for immigrants, and it also had its own way for Australian permanent residency and for international students. So I'll talk about what it takes to become a student in Australia. Can international student work in Australia? First of all, yes, international students can work in Australia, and they have a minimum of 20 to 30 hours a week. And the minimum wage for Australia is higher than Canada. It's around, the minimum is 23 Australian dollars. And then what it takes to become a student in Australia involves applying to any university, whether it be in a college or undergraduate or master's program or PhD. And then after getting admission, you make a deposit of your tuition fee. Then you apply for the visa, your study permit. They also have a scholarship available in Australia, some of Australian university, but it's very competitive. So depending on your grade. And then there's been new policies in Australia for international students. There's been an increase in deposit requirements. So not long ago, Australian government announced that it would increase the proof of deposit required for international students to apply for a study visa. And then there's been an increase in working hours and hourly rates. So in the past, it used to be like 20 hours a week, but now it has been increased to 30 plus hours. So I'd like to thank you all for joining this webinar, and then the end of my PowerPoint. Thank you. And if you have any question, you can ask me.